It's Mr. Thomas Lang. How you doing?
I'm well, thank you. Hey, Ollie. Thanks
Um,
for having me.
you're where you are at the moment is for me, it looks like you're surrounded by the equivalent of like the Playboy Mansion. That's like my version of the Playboy Mansion. You just look at those drums. That is incredible. You
It's it, it's Drum Nerd Central here.
well, you've, in fairness, off air, you've invited me over, so I've just got to get the money for a
Yes,
plane ticket to LA.
you're hereby officially invited.
Amazing.
You're
Uh,
welcome.
you have worked with, for those who don't know, you have worked with Paul Gilbert, Robert Fripp from King Crimson, Peter Gabriel, but also Robbie Williams and the Sugababes. You've done some really a really mixed bag of gigs. Do you have a preference as to what sort of gig you prefer?
Do I have a preference? Uh, of course, I mean, I like to play music that people want to hear, you know. I like to play commercial music because
Okay, that's
this,
interesting.
this has a great mass appeal to people, and I like to perform with artists who have great and loyal and excited, followers
Mhm.
and audiences. And to be honest, I kind of slightly differentiate between work, as in touring for financial gain, if you
Mhm.
like,
Mhm.
making a living as a musician. I mean, there's obviously gigs that pay better than other gigs.
Yeah.
So sometimes you got to do work for hire to pay the bills, and at other times, I like to sort of indulge in touring and performing with artists for more creative and musical reasons, and I try to,
Yes.
it's a bit of a mixed bag, and hence kind of, I think, my quite, um, you know, my CV, which is kind of a little all over the place in terms of music and artists and styles, because I like to cater to both my needs, paying bills and also enjoying playing music with great musicians.
And out of all the names of the people that you've worked with, that you've collaborated with over the years, do you have a favorite artist that you look back to, perhaps one live gig or one recording session, and you think, fucking hell, like nothing can ever beat this?
Mm, no, not really. I mean, I really enjoyed always working with Paul Gilbert, for example,
Yeah,
because we it's fun on every level. Musically,
he's
um,
a monster.
yeah, he's a great musician himself, and he is sort of on the same wavelength as I am in terms of music, how he records his albums. It's all live. We're all in the same room, really old school. All the albums I did with him, were basically recorded live,
Wow.
uh, all in one room. We just learn the songs and press record, and then boom, do a few takes, choose the best one. That's it. And that's really enjoyable. And also touring, of course, it's super high energy, and music is interesting and challenging to play every night. And there's enough room for experimentation and variation every night, and everybody gets their solos and stuff. So it's a very muso kind of scenario,
Mm,
and I always enjoyed that very much. But then again, I also really enjoy being just super disciplined and playing parts.
okay.
I learned the drums and got into music because of songs and because of artists I liked, and sort of I I enjoy reproducing like a really consistent performance every night,
Mhm.
which kind of what you have to do when you play with pop artists. They're very, very distinct and concrete parts that you have to just play, just that, not nothing else every night. And I enjoy that too, to be really disciplined in the music like that, and just laying down a great foundation and getting all the sounds right and the feel right. There's different challenges to everything. That's why I enjoy doing all these different things.
But do you think you've reached a point with your career, with your drumming, with your superhuman abilities, where you are still musically challenged? And I say that, Thomas, from a drummer point of view. I watch drummers and I think, okay, I can see what you're doing. I can try and work that out. When I watch you, I feel like I just want to throw my drumsticks down and just sort of go, do you know what? This man, I'm just not ever going to get it. I really believe it when I say this. I think you're the best living drummer.
Wow. Dang,
It's
Ollie.
true. It's true. You hang up. No, you hang up. Stop it. Come on. Stop. But it's
Well,
true.
it's super flattering, and I really appreciate that sentiment, Ollie. Thank you very much. I myself don't believe that at all, and
Well, you're wrong.
Huh?
You're
What?
wrong.
I don't know myself. No, but well, thank you. It's really flattering, and you know, but of course, you know, I have the same challenges that you or any other drummer has. I feel today the same way I felt when I was 13 years old or 15 or 17 years old. You know, I feel the same way about my drumming today, you know, as I felt then. I feel it's all crap and it needs improvement on every level. You know, and I've barely scratched the surface, and I have to do more work in every area and aspect, on every aspect of my playing. It never ends, and that's the beauty of playing an instrument or being involved in arts and music. There is no finish line, you know,
Yes. Yeah.
and I feel that there's so much more to learn and so much more to tweak and improve, and I enjoy that process. I definitely don't think I'm the best drummer on the planet, and
you
I
are.
know my abilities, and I'm confident with my abilities and my level of playing and command over the instrument. But there are so many things I want to explore, and so many sort of details I'm still working on, and also just basics that I'm still working on after all these decades of playing. You can always improve your single stroke roll, you know. It's pretty pathetic, but that
I think most people can. I think you've got that pretty nailed, to be fair.
right. Well, I don't think so, but there you are. You know, I mean, I honestly feel that there's always room for improvement and growth, and I'm working on it. You know, I'm always working and tweaking, and it's a very enjoyable process for me.
You are by trade a session drummer. I know that you have had bands and you've been in bands, but predominantly, you know, you've spoken about, you know, being a session drummer, doing these recording gigs and things like that. I've got to ask you, 11 years ago, you auditioned to be in Dream Theater.
Wow.
And you were saying when you were outside the rehearsal studio that you were ready to be part of a band. Do you still feel that, or do you feel that since that point in your life and your career, you're still getting those same creative kicks out of being a session drummer?
No, still feel that, you know, if it's the right, you know, group of people, the right context, of course, you know, I'm ready to be in a band. Hey guys,
I'm not hiring.
No, but you know, I do get a lot of creative satisfaction from playing very different styles of music with different artists, and
Of course.
just being all over the place musically and creatively. I think this is important for me as a musician, and for my you know, satisfaction in general musically. But I'm always, you know, I'm totally cool with and interested and ready to be in a band that covers all those bases for me, you know. If I can have enough creative input, and if I feel that I can stretch musically and at the same time you know, be involved in production and writing and all that, of course I'm up for that.
So it's so interesting because I can, when you're talking about your style and you're playing, I can hear you, you know, in my head, I can hear you jamming with Peter Gabriel, but I can hear you playing, you know, with the Sugababes. Who, as a drummer, taking all those different pockets of sounds, who is your favorite drummer?
That's impossible to say, really. I have too many favorite drummers. You have to really differentiate. I think there's so many amazing drummers and drummers I love
Yes.
in a certain genre of music and a certain style of playing, and also a certain era historically. But those favorites in that genre, that era, wouldn't work.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
necessarily. I don't have the one, drummer who does everything, in a way that I think is just mind blowing. Everybody
Yes.
has their forte and their strength, and then a lot of drummers that I really appreciate and love listening to have specialized, either they're working only in one particular style of music and do that really well. There's not many all around drummers that cover all the bases for me, and I don't have like a favorite drummer. I have many favorite drummers, like I said, you know different styles, different genres, different eras. And I mean, some of my favorite, I grew up, a huge influence on me was, of course, Buddy Rich in the early
Okay.
days, and Ringo Starr, both equally, basically, both playing a kind of similar setup, kind of a four-piece kit. Buddy sometimes had a second floor tom for the ashtray and the towel, but that kind of setup, but such different players. Buddy being the super virtuoso band leader, drum personality, super technical guy, and Ringo being the funny, humble,
Yeah.
to the music, simple but creative drum parts. Super commercial.
Yeah.
Both is sort of opposite sides of the spectrum, really, and both influenced me very much, and I have a great appreciation for both those things, the super technical virtuoso type playing, and also the really simple basic song friendly playing. And then huge influence was Billy Cobham, Stuart Copeland,
Yeah.
Terry Bozzio, all Zappa's drummers.
Yes.
Vinny, of course, huge influence.
Massive.
um, and then a lot of the great fusion drummers, Alphonse Mousson, Lenny White, Dave Weckl,
Oh yeah, Dave Weckl, what a machine.
yeah, and I loved a lot of great rock drummers, of course. Bonham, Ian Pace.
Oh,
I'm a huge Ian Pace fan, more so than Bonham, actually, I think.
really?
Yeah,
Wow.
I know. Don't hate me for that.
Wow, that's surprising me.
Yes, I'm Cozy Powell, huge Cozy Powell fan.
Yeah.
I loved a lot of the great simple rock drummers, Phil Rudd, Mitch Mitchell, Tony
Yeah.
was influence.
I just need to come round and we need to have beers so that we can just
All
do this
right.
all night. That'd be insane. With regards to your ability, and you mentioned a moment ago that sometimes you've got to do tours for financial reasons, and to obviously keep the roof over your head as well as feel creative. Has lockdown, it's obviously impacted your ability to tour, to gig. How have you managed to remain such a relevant drummer in a very turbulent 21st century music industry?
I was lucky enough to have an online school, drum
Yeah.
school, before COVID. I was lucky enough to have all the equipment and studio to continue teaching online, running my online school, doing live streams, live masterclasses online, and remote drum lessons, as well as, of course, all the session work.
Mhm.
Recording sessions from for clients from all over the world in my studio. So I was kind of lucky to have that set up. It was a really bad time for me too, because I was in the middle of building a new studio,
Oh, okay.
and working on a startup at the same time here, involved in a lot of construction. It was crazy, but I had all the right ingredients and was able to pick it up, pretty well, and pretty much instantly when lockdown happened and everything. And I always had sort of my active performing touring side
Mhm.
of my work. Then I had the recording side of my work. I always did kind of mixed it up, tried to do both equally, an equal amount
Yeah.
of time. Obviously not being on the road all the time because I have kids, and
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't be away all the time. And I was able to somehow make it work with just the one side, just the studio work,
Yeah.
whether that's teaching or streaming or doing master classes online or recording sessions. It kind of worked, and it's still like that. I'm
Yeah.
actually morning I got another few messages and emails that other tours again have been
Amazing.
canceled, yeah, and
Oh,
postponed indefinitely. So it's
oh
just an
God.
ongoing thing, unfortunately. All the gigs I had planned for this month, next month, and the month after that are canceled or postponed.
Oh,
So we'll see how it goes, and in situations like this, I think we all have to be very flexible and
yes.
adjust very quickly and try to make it happen with the means that we have at our disposal and the infrastructure we have hopefully created for ourselves.
Mm.
Um, it's a bit of a crapshoot right now, I think, for
Yeah.
everybody. But I just try to make it work. I have also physical students here. I
Nice.
have a school here. This is just one of many rooms.
Wow.
Um,
That's so cool.
but hey, if anybody needs drum lessons,
I was
come.
gonna I honestly, your Instagram is probably one of my favorite Instagram accounts because most people sort of you're scrolling through and it's like they're saying, yeah, this is how you get boom to get to, and then it's like, yeah, this is how you do this, and then I'm just like,
Terrible.
but I cannot get my head around how you do what you do. But I guess I probably never will.
Oh, come on.
No,
It's
it's
not
true.
rocket science.
No, but it is a little bit. I've got to ask you, and this question is, I suppose, inspired from the T-shirt I'm wearing. Are you able to tell me the most? Well, it's a two-part question, really. Firstly, is Spinal Tap a real representative of what happens in the music industry? And if so, can you tell me your most X-rated and outrageous Spinal Tap story?
Oh, wow. Huh. Well, I think that it's a very accurate sort of depiction of what the music scene in a specific genre in a specific
Sure.
era was like for sure. I mean, it's ridiculous and pathetic. It's a total kindergarten, and especially in that era, in the 70s, 80s. Um,
Yeah.
there was a lot of just madness and chaos in the music industry, and it's kind of pathetic. I mean, yes, that's why musicians think that Spinal Tap is so funny, because it's
Yes.
quite
Yeah.
accurate. It's we all know this, and maybe the slightly older generation of musicians, at least, we all remember those kind of moments, and I do.
Mm.
Of just this the debauchery and the childish behavior of grown of adults in the music industry, and it was and is still, I'm sure, also pretty crazy. I think the music industry has changed so much that it's not like that anymore.
Okay.
Whether that's a good or a bad thing, I don't know. But I don't think as extreme as it was. I remember when I started working in the 80s, it's pretty nuts still, and there were unlimited budgets basically,
Wow.
and it was, if you were with a successful band, it was pretty insane. It was full on rock and roll, heaven. It's very different now, because when I entered the music industry at the very top, basically, with like number one records and worldwide hits and stuff with Falco. So
Yes.
I entered at the very top, and it's been a steady decline
Okay.
from then on.
Really? Yeah.
Like in the music industry and the whole vibe in the scene altogether, it's very different now. Now, if you're touring with the big pop artists, it's very much like business. It's very much,
That's a
quite.
shame. That's a shame. That's sad.
Yeah, you know what? I personally don't mind that.
But you want to argue about there not being any peppers in olives or the bread being too small. They're the real rock and roll things.
Absolutely. But then again, it's kind of ridiculous too, and it
Of course. Of course.
can cause so much mayhem and just trying to well, the thing is, it was all built on egos then, and I don't think it's helpful
It's,
to have an ego like that anymore in the music industry when you're working with people in
Of
today's.
course.
Uh,
But that's what, as you say, that's what makes the film so successful, that it was such a relevant projection of artists at that time. But then since then, we've had the introduction of the internet. We've got Spotify, we've got Apple, we've got the level of instant gratification is insane. We just think of an artist, we don't go and buy it anymore. The majority of us stream it, which has of course impacted the music industry, and in turn what you were saying about budgets. What would your advice, Thomas, be to an aspiring artist, not necessarily a drummer, could be a singer, not even necessarily a rock artist, but somebody who maybe feels like they're a bit in limbo with their career at the moment? Maybe they've got sort of, I don't know, a couple of hundred, maybe 1,000 followers on Instagram. They're trying to get their music out there. COVID is very much being a strong resilience, pushing against what they're trying to do. What would you advise?
Don't give up. Keep on keeping on. I think the circumstances will change long term with COVID and the pandemic and everything. I think it'll get better. And I think there will be a very positive development also, and changes in the music industry in general. I think people will always appreciate live music. And I think there'll be a very sort of distinct division between sort of the live music scene and sort of a retro approach to performing music and recording music. And then there will be sort of the plastic music scene where, there's going to be an ocean of music that people produce in their bedrooms, and some of it good, most of it pretty crap. And artists that don't perform music, that just record music or remix music and create music electronically, that don't play instruments but create some interesting audio experience, whatever you want to call it. I wouldn't necessarily call it music, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's a ton of that kind of stuff, and I think there'll be the two different worlds. And if you're a musician, and not just a writer or a producer with a laptop in your bedroom, if you're actually trying to learn or playing an instrument and trying to improve, and you want to go out and play, just keep on doing it. The better you get, the more likely you'll find people who appreciate your skill and talent and your enthusiasm and ambition, and they'll want to work with you. And it's sort of a mindset and an attitude, and you will always find like-minded people if you keep at it and keep developing and live your passion, because other people who are on that same wavelength will be able to identify with you and appreciate around you, and having an exchange with you or hire you.
Yeah.
I think it's important to just not give up, to stay positive and optimistic, and follow your passion, follow your heart, keep on doing what you're doing, and just don't give up. Never ever give up. If this is your choice, and then commit to it and do it 100%. And there's two ways of doing things. You can do something that you don't enjoy, and you may succeed or fail in doing something you don't enjoy. And then you could do something that you really enjoy, and you may succeed or fail.
Yeah, that's really true.
So, which one of the two choices is it? If you love playing music, just go for it, and keep on doing it, even if it looks a little grim right now. And yes, there's a pandemic, and it's difficult to find people to work with or produce great content, whatever. Just get better, focus on your instrument, focus on playing and becoming a great musician or writer. And the better you get, the more naturally you will gain followers on your social media and everything. People do appreciate a great skill and
I agree.
Being somebody who's living their passion. So you can't go wrong, doing that.
And my final question to you is, you mentioned earlier that you're taking drum students on at the moment. Where can people find out more about that and about you and how to sign up? Plug, Thomas, plug away.
Call me. My number is just email me at thomaslang00@yahoo.com.
Amazing.
That's my email address. Email me if you want drum lessons. I offer both remote lessons. I stream from here, and with a multi-angle setup and everything. And I do Skype and Zoom lessons, and I do online master classes or online clinics even.
Cool.
I performed online at drum festivals from here. A bunch of different, did online, Modern Drummer Festival last year from here.
Yeah.
I did like Soul Drum Fest, a bunch of others from here. And I offer physical drum lessons here at my location, Oak Park, California, Los Angeles, basically. So if you're in
a bit of a commute for me, I reckon, but other people might be.
but we could do remote lessons if you want.
I think I'd embarrass myself, but thank you.
All my tricks. It's not
Thank you, and thank you so much for joining me.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.